I am done complaining about cards. It's been a week without the UFC and I'm like a crackhead suffering from withdrawal. This card isn't the best on paper and I don't even care. It's time to shoot up. So glad to be back. Let's go. Like and subscribe and hit me up on Twitter and all that good shit. I'm going to get breezy with this. Alright, this one's actually a tough one to call. Linz's looked great in his last two and seems to have turned a corner. He beat Prachnio and he absolutely starched OSP. Grishin is coming off a win against William Knight, who's back at Amazon now, so that's a tricky one to hold stock in. He's durable and tough, and Linz has struggled in fights where he doesn't destroy his opponent. For this reason, I think Grishin is going to get the nod in a close decision, possibly winning the last two rounds. I picked Luan Lacerda against Stamen in his last fight, and my boy badly shit the bed and got quite badly dominated. He was coming off this on short notice though, so it's not the worst loss. Damon Blaksheare just lost to Javid in March, who is really a class act, and he at least managed to make that one competitive. I think Lacerda, with a longer camp here, will have the advantage. He's the more active striker, and I think he's going to win a close decision, another one, second to the card, having the better moments. This one's going to a decision. Gun to my head, I'll take Frey. She's better looking. Bet the distance. Alright, nice bantamweight bout here. We all know I love this division. I'm going to take Daniel Santos. Munoz is tough, but he doesn't have the finishing ability that Santos has, and I think that's going to be telling in this one. Santos, despite having the reach advantage, I think is going to catch Munoz on the chin in the first and finish him off on the ground. Munoz has lost by strikes and subs, so either's possible. Santos is getting better every time I see him. This is a nice parlay fluffer. Dontel Mays is fucking horrendous. He has no gas tank, he's got no output and no skill whatsoever. Arlovski did just get bludgeoned against Rogerio de Lima, but despite being ancient, he tends to do the business against these bottom feeder heavyweights, and Mays is the epitome of that. I'm going to take this one to go to a sloppy, horrible decision, and that's essentially my bet. Gun to my head, I'd probably take Arlovski, but it's going to be ugly and it's going to be shit. If you are trying to recruit a newcomer to the sport, avoid this one like the plague. Alright, Abubakar Nurmagomedov. Don't be fooled by the surname. This man is shit. He's done the typical Nurmagomedov way of padding out his record, and he ain't fooling this guy. His takedowns are decent, but he can't keep anyone down, and is only really good at hugging people for dear life. I don't care if I'm wrong about this one, I hate his style. Albazi dos Santos does have losses against Li Jinglian and Salikov, but they can actually fight. I think this one goes to a decision, with everyone thinking Dos Santos won, and Abubakar getting the robbery. You heard it here first. I've picked against Mullarkey 3 times in a row, and I've been wrong. And I'm going to do it again. He's decent enough at a certain level, but when the competition tends to get real, he kind of falters a bit. He's lost to Ziam, Turner, and Riddell in his last 6. The latter doesn't really look great, but he has bounced back since then. Kutaledze's only loss was a split against Ismagulov, and that man's an absolute monster. He made that close. He also beat Mateus Gamrot, who I'm really high on. I think he chins Mullarkey in, I'm going to say, the second round. Alright, I'm going to be real. That picture is not Ketlin Souza, and I bet none of you realized it. I couldn't find her fight profile pic. Anyway, I managed to watch a few of her fights to research this. I'd never heard of her before. And for women's MMA, she kind of does deserve to be here. She's not really a finisher though, and Silva has a really nasty mean streak in her. I reckon this goes to a decision, with Silva beating the shit out of her for 3 rounds. Never bet on women's MMA. Alright, this could potentially be another nice scrap. I'm going to take Tim Elliott. He's got the experience advantage, and he has that dog in him that I just can't overlook here. He did recently do an interview where he talked about his wife fucking his teammate on his wedding night, which kind of turned me off him a bit, but I'm going to press ahead. Altimirano has looked good in his last few, but I can't really back him due to his lack of high-quality opponents, and he does have a massive experience disadvantage. This is a risky one, because sooner or later, Elliott is going to eventually crumble after a career full of wars. I think he has a few more left in him before this happens, and I think he might even get a finish here after a scrappy first. Alright, segueing off my last point brings me into this one. If this fight was 2 years ago, I'd take Miller without hesitation. I just think he's had too many fights. Gordon is not exactly amazing, but he looked okay against Bobby Green, and he had his moments in that one before the head clash that ended the fight. I think his activity on the feet will wear Miller down, and he will edge a decision. Miller snatching a limb is a nice underdog pick, in my opinion, but in his last fight, he stayed on the feet for the entire fight for some reason, and he maybe doesn't have the takedown strength anymore. I'm going to avoid this one, but I think Gordon might edge this by having the better moments. Alright, I'm picking Caceres. He used to be an embarrassing joke that I used to make a lot of money on, but he's a vet, and he seems to have really turned a corner. He has the reach advantage, which he really knows how to use, and this man has been around forever. I know Pineda isn't exactly new to the game either, but I just think Caceres is looking so good. I think he's going to be too slick on the feet and too wily on the ground to get snatched up. Pineda's no pussy, but I think Caceres is riding a wave, and I really like him in this fight. I think he's going to win this. Is this a worthy main event for a fight card? Probably not, but it's nice to see flyweights getting some shine once in a while. Albazi, I think, has more ways to win, but again, it's a competition issue here. Kai Kara is slightly outside that upper echelon in a pretty tough division, and I think he's going to win this one. The whole shady business around the Albazi situation with his brother has me skeptical as well. Is the guy juicing? Probably. It's the unknowns here that I can't back, and that's why I can't back him. Kai Kara France has fought better competition, and while I think this one's going to be close, I actually really dislike Albazi, and I want to see him get folded. This is kind of a heart over head choice. Alright, so I'm coming in this year, as I've said before, with a record of 127-59, not too shabby, allowing me to retain a win percentage of 68%. I'm going to be back on Saturday night to react to this card. I might try and stick one or two more in between, but no guarantees. As always, thanks to everyone for stopping by. And as always, hit me up on Twitter. I'll catch you in a bit.